Oh my God.
Oh yeah!
All right, so everybody, here we are. Welcome to the Film Festival Flicks Mountain Adventure Film Festival. Live Q&As here today. We're talking with Big City Mountaineers, and I'm very excited. My name is Benjamin Oberman. I'm president of Film Festival Flicks, and I've got a great group of people. We've got Elizabeth Williams, who is here today from Big City Mountaineers. She's director of programs. We've got Anna Simley, who's the Summit for Someone manager, and Brad Carson, who's one of the mentors. And so first off, Elizabeth, can you tell us, for everybody who doesn't know what Big City Mountaineers, can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So Big City Mountaineers is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're headquartered in Denver, Colorado, but run programs in California, Minnesota, and Seattle as well. And the programs we run are week-long mentoring outdoor programs for low-income and at-risk youth. And so we specifically work with local youth agencies, places like Boys and Girls Clubs, tutoring programs, foster care programs, and then bring their students out on week-long backpacking or canoeing programs. And the thing that's really unique about our program is, of those trips, we take out 5 students and 5 adults. And of those 5 adults, one's a paid instructor, one's an adult who works with the students year-round, and then we have 3 volunteer mentors who are out there giving their time to hang out with our students in the backcountry.
Very cool. So there's a couple photos that I found online that we periodically are sharing. It's absolutely amazing. So, and Anna, tell us a little bit about what's Summit for Someone.
Summit for Someone is one of the main funding arms of Big City Mountaineers. And what happens is climbers all over the country, all over the world, climb different mountains, and they have different pledges that they, fundraise. And there's different pledges for each mountain, and they kind of mirror the experience that our students go through. So they struggle up the summit. Our students are struggling through their backpacking, and through their fundraising and their physical challenge, they're providing outdoor experiences for our youth.
That's great. Brad, so you are a mentor. You've been volunteering with the organization, helping out. Tell us a little bit about how you discovered them and how you got involved.
Actually, I discovered them through a Denver-based website that listed various volunteer organizations. I'd been volunteering through another organization, and that system was really coming to an end, so I was looking for a new organization, and lo and behold, I found Big City Mountaineers that was backpacking, working with teens, and it was right up my alley. That's
great. And what can you tell us a story about at least one of your experiences that's really had an impact on you?
Oh my goodness, so many to speak of. I think one of the more interesting ones was my second year. I think we were day 2 on the trail, and our youth, who I believe his name was Josh, was having a real hard time, and started to actually break down and cry a bit. We sort of pulled him aside, and he finally acknowledged the fact that his feet were hurting. We had him take off his boots, and his feet were as flat as a board. And he was just really struggling with the boots. And we sort of went back to the group and said, Josh is really struggling. Here's what's going on with his feet. And, without any prompting from any of the adults, the rest of the youth just simply said, all right, let's take some of his weight. And they pulled stuff out of his backpack and split it up amongst themselves. And, we were able to continue on as a group. And it was just one of those moments where, as adults, we sort of looked at each other in complete disbelief that these kids had, on their own, taken upon themselves to help out, a kid that they really didn't know that well. It was sort of a mixed group, not coming from a single agency, and yet, we're that caring and compassionate to make the trip work.
That's amazing. Elizabeth, how do kids get involved? How do they find out about Big City Mountaineers? How do they become part of these expeditions? Is it volunteer? Is it court-ordered?
No, definitely not court-ordered. We are working very closely with these local youth agencies. And so, for example, in Colorado, we work with an organization called College Track, and they're all first-generation bound college students. And the agency themselves select the 5 students. And so we're looking for students who, couldn't afford to do something like this on their own, but are willing and able to jump in and want to participate. It's not something we're ever forcing a student to do. It's definitely not a punishment, and often our agencies will use it as a reward. So for kids who are excelling or are leaders in their programs, they get this opportunity to go out and spend a week in the backcountry with our adults. So we really rely on our agencies, both for selecting and screening our students, but also for the long-term transference of learning. So our students are out there learning how to set up tents and learning how to use a stove. They're also learning life skills like self-esteem, leadership, goal setting, and in the end, we're hoping that they're going to transfer that learning from the backcountry back home. So the whole idea, they're climbing real mountains and then taking it back to metaphorical mountains in their communities.
Oh, that's fabulous. Anna, you work a lot, obviously, with the Summit for Someone, bridging that gap between, I guess, is it pro climbers and mountaineers that are doing these summits, or is it just adults that are going out and they want to do it to help raise awareness and funding for the I guess the kids that go out?
Yeah, we have climbers of all skill levels. I mean, a lot of beginning climbers, this is the first time they've done any sort of mountaineering undertaking, and the cause just really speaks to them, helping other kids get outdoors. They want to challenge themselves, maybe set a goal for themselves, like getting in shape or getting out of their comfort zone. So yeah, I mean, people from all walks of life, not just pro mountaineers at all.
And typically, if someone was to get involved, I mean, this sounds like a much more exciting way for me to raise money than to walk around a track at the local high school for 24 hours. What's involved, and typically, what does one person's effort go to support within the organization?
Well, it really depends, because every pledge level is different, but I can use one climb, for example. Our backpacker climbers, Backpacker Magazine is featuring a climb of the Grand Teton this summer. There's 4 climbs. The pledge for that is $4,000, which translates to about 4 kids on trail over the summer, each. So we'll have 36 climbers doing that, times 4, whatever that is. That's the kids.
And Brad, have you gotten a chance to keep in touch with any of the kids after the expedition was over and see how it translated to their life beyond?
Actually, I have. A couple of the kids, frankly, I've stayed in contact through Facebook. I actually will be seeing one of them in a couple weeks at the Denver School of Arts. He is a guitarist and will be performing, and my daughter and I are going to be going up there. My daughter has just been accepted in the Denver School of Arts, and so it's an opportunity for her to meet somebody who's going there, and for me to catch up with them.
Awesome. And we were going to have Amy Tam with us, who can't be here today, but Elizabeth or Anna, can you tell us a little bit about her journey? Because I know she started out as one of the students, and now she's almost, she is an alumni, but she's almost moved a little bit towards becoming a mentor herself.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of.
Okay. Wow, look at that. All right, Amy's jumping on, so our timing actually couldn't have been better. Don't know if let's see. Oh, she's not with us quite yet. There she is. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Sorry about
She
that.
started out as one of the students, and now she's almost. Your timing couldn't be better. We were just introducing you, and so can you tell us just a little bit about your journey, first as a student and now in your role with Big City Mountaineers?
Yeah, well, I first, I never even thought about being in the outdoors, and the first time my youth coordinator. I was in a program called eBASI, and it's a tutoring program. So I was working as a peer tutor there, and then my youth coordinator told me that there was an opportunity to backpack. And at first, I've never gone camping at all. My families were never into the outdoors, so like it was such an awesome experience that I for it. And ever since then, I got an email a year later telling me about OEI, and that was Outdoor Educators Institute that was managed through Big City Mountaineers. And from then, it was just an amazing journey. I got to see how it's like to be in the outdoors and to be able to work within this industry as well. So it's amazing.
That's great. That's great. And how did your experience in the backcountry then translate into your life back here in the city?
Yeah, the first time I did backpacking, we did day trips. Before the backpacking expedition, we did a day trip hiking in the East Bay Regional Parks District, and from then on, I wanted to lead all my family members and my friends out hiking and stuff. And so what BCM brought to me was an insight to all the outdoor areas that I could be a part of and bring other people to back at home.
And have you remained friends with some of the people that were on the backpacking expedition with you?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of those were my high school classmates, and now I'm still in touch with a lot of them, and especially the youth coordinator, who is still on my references list.
Well, that's great. So Elizabeth, what are some of your initiatives that you're really pushing now in 2015 as we get underway, and then how can people get involved with those?
Yeah, so this call is really timely for two different areas of what we're doing. First of all, in the next week, we're going to be announcing new volunteer information sessions, and so for people who live local to our regions, and again, that's based in Denver, the Front Range, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Minneapolis, or up in Seattle, we're looking for mentors who want to go out in the field with our students. And so over the next week on our website, on our Facebook page, we're going to be posting dates for how people can get involved and learn more. We're also still accepting climbers, and so looking for people who want to have, again, like Anna was saying, that mirror experience of getting to go and climb a really big mountain. I often equate, we have a small, it's not really a small mountain, it's like 11,000 foot peak here in Colorado called Medicine, though. It's a big deal for our students to get to the top of. And then it's a really big deal for our climbers to get to the top of some of these summits like Whitney or Shasta or Rainier. And so we're looking for folks who want to climb with us. So really, mentors and climbers are the two ways to really get involved, and we're definitely looking for folks right now.
And do obviously the mentors are out there with the students. On the Summit for Someone, is there a way that the climbers then get a chance to follow the students that they're helping?
Well, yeah, we have our students do little thank you notes, and that's directly from a student written to a climber that helped them on their journey. There's opportunities for climbers to be mentors, to work with our students if they want to. So there can be that overlap there. But yeah, we try and build that connection as much as possible, because that's why our climbers are out there. They want to make sure that their money is going towards helping a kid and helping change their perspective.
Yeah, we're really working on collecting stories from our students as well. I had the awesome opportunity last year to do exit interviews with every kid that came off the trail in Colorado, and we intend to continue to do that this summer. And so really collecting specific student stories and sharing those with our climbers so they understand the impact that they're having, even if they're not necessarily even meeting one of those kids.
Brad, in all of your journeys, what's been the most unexpected occurrence that's happened?
I've volunteered for 7 years now, so I've really had an opportunity to see some of these, and maybe more so hear about some of the growth that has occurred post-trip. I think back to my first trip, and an individual who, on day one, introduced himself and called himself Little. The day before the trip started, he had broken his arm, So he was in a brand new cast. He was in 6th grade, and he was little. He truly was little. Yet he led the group most of the time. He really embraced everything that Big City Mountaineers was about. Subsequently, he has been mentored by one of the BCM volunteers and has recently graduated from high school, passing all of his classes, all of his exams, and will be going to junior college. Now, 7 years ago, that wasn't in the plan. That wasn't going to happen. I really feel strongly through Big City Mountaineers and the mentoring that took place afterwards, this individual was able to shine and really grow into the person he's become.
Amazing. Elizabeth, what about you? What's the most unexpected thing what the biggest surprise since you've been working with BCM?
That's a hard question. My favorite story, it's maybe my favorite 2014 story, but we had a student, his name was Abe, and I normally don't pick up students in vans, but had the opportunity to go to this high school to pick up the kids. And when I rolled up, there were only 3 of 5 students sitting on the curb, which is not a good thing. I'm really generally hoping for all 5. And we were able to track down the 4th one, but Abe didn't want to go. And so the agency leader was like, can we just swing by your house? The other guys want to talk to you. Let's see if you want to go. And so I drove them all over to Abe's house, and I'm sitting in the van, and the agency leader gave this great pep talk. He was like, all right, we're going to go into Abe's house. We're going to talk to him. This is not about the mileage that we're going to accomplish. It's about us being a team, and our team's not going to be complete if Abe's not there. And so they walk in. I didn't hear that conversation, but one of the students walked out in the middle of the street and gave me the double thumbs up that Abe had decided he wanted to go. And Abe was a really big kid, and so he shows up, they go out on the trail, and as I was doing these exit interviews, I was talking to him, and he was like, I don't know if I want to go backpacking again, but the one thing I learned is that I'm the kind of person that people can look up to. And from here on out, I really want to be the kind of person that people want to respect. And he was even like, I might think about camping, but I don't want to backpack. And that was just really he was dragging his feet, didn't want to leave the house, would have been much more comfortable staying home for the week, but took a chance and really did learn something while he was out there. And that was my warm, fuzzy moment for the summer last year.
Amazing. So Amy, you actually had the experience of being on the doing side. So what was the difference between your expectation going into it and then what surprise did you encounter once you actually got into the wilderness that you didn't think was going to happen?
Yeah, from the very second I placed on the backpack, I felt like a huge, ginormous turtle with a huge shell that, weighed half the amount of weight that I was weighing. But, initially you're like, how the heck can I go up to the top of a mountain with such a huge backpack? But a lot of it is you take one step at a time, and that's initially, when I was talking to my family members, none of them had experiences like these before, and they think I'm outrageous and crazy. Why would you leave home and such a comfortable spot to live and sleep in the forest or on the floor somewhere? And even now, I'm always telling people, hey, you need to go backpacking at least once. I feel like you see the world in such a different perspective, and the views are just amazing, and you learn so much about yourself. It's really a self-discovery. You over them, you really shine, and you accomplish things that you didn't think you could do before. So and even now, after the SFS climb, up to Mount Whitney, 14,000 feet elevation, that's something that was, really strenuously challenging, but it's something that I can say that I've done, and I can recommend those things to people.
Well, congratulations. Anna, what about yourself? What's an unexpected result that you never thought you'd encounter?
working at VCM or on the trip? I have an answer.
Yeah, either one. It could be what you've experienced there, or certainly out in the field.
Well, I went on my first backpacking trip, actually, or extended backpacking trip this past summer with BCM as a mentor, and I was with a group of girls that were 13 and going into high school. So it was really interesting, you know, that you just see this whole arc of transformation, because the first day they're screaming at every bug, and they're like, wait, we're leaving the van? You know, like, what? And then they just kind of grow, and you don't even realize how much they're taking in until there's a moment when maybe you're doing a debrief at the end of the day or something, and they just relate like, oh, you know, today was really hard, but high school's going to be hard, and we have to stick together and support each other. And it's just shocking because, you know, you think, you know, that it's a new experience for them and that they're learning new skills, but for them to connect it completely on their own, you know, it makes you a proud mentor.
So, Brad, what advice or what reason could you give why people should get involved?
Oh my goodness! You know, I think sometimes it's almost a selfish, from the perspective of I feel like I take away more than I give, because you know, you get to the end of the trip and you have your big debrief, and you sit around and you hear the kids talk about the transition that they've already seen in themselves in just, you know, 5, 6, 7 days, and being a part of that is just overwhelming. You know, thinking back to, you know, Javon, who introduced himself as little, at the end of that trip, you know, he simply looked around and says, I don't want to go home. You know, he realized something about himself, that he was bigger than he thought, and that he could do more than he thought he could. And you know, it's really overwhelming from an emotional and spiritual perspective, seeing these kids grow, and you know, taking the experiences and the learning opportunities from the outdoors and translating those to the front country.
Amy, what about you? You're now working towards being a mentor. What advice would you give to people to become involved?
Advice is, you know, it is really rewarding, and I think, you know, I felt how it was like, you know, being a mentee to someone like Brad, where, you know, I looked up to a lot of the mentors, and, you know, they inspired me to be someone like that. You know, when the first trip I did, I never thought it could be a career in my life, to, you know, lead awesome, amazing trips, and to be such a great role model. And then doing OEI, and after all those extra experiences, now it's more, I can see it in my future, and I can say for sure that it does make an impact, being a mentor into someone's life, and you never know where it will take them. So I'd say, you know, definitely go for it. It really is rewarding. It's rewarding for both hands. Like Brad said, he was, you know, when you do it, it's sort of for a selfish reason, but the mentees don't realize that, and they see that you guys are like, and honestly, it's like you guys are a huge role model. We're the ones who are feeling so thankful for having a mentor like that to, you know, lead us on amazing trips that are like positive and highlight of, you know, even a lifetime. That's something that's going to stick into my life, and a huge great accomplishment.
So, Elizabeth, clearly it's an amazing organization. How do people get involved and support you who don't have the time to come out and volunteer themselves?
Yeah, so definitely financially is a huge thing for us. Summit for Someone is a huge fundraising arm for us, and so supporting climbers or, you know, just directly donating is really helpful. You know, as well as just learning and spreading the word. The more people that know about us and that can get involved, the better. And so checking us out, we've got a great website. It has a lot of information about our expeditions, about lots of different ways and then even stories of impact from our students. There's some great videos and photos up there too. So that's just bigcitymountaineers.org. There's lots of information there as to how to get involved, and if people don't live in our hub cities, because it's a huge country and we're in small places right here. Well, big cities, but not a lot of them. So definitely getting involved, supporting financially is huge for us.
And for people who haven't heard about it, you have an amazing industry support. Anna, like I was at the Outdoor Retailer Show, and it seemed like the Big City Mountaineers was supported by every major retailer. Can you just share some of the brands and what they do to help that people would recognize?
Was that for me or Elizabeth?
Either one.
I can field it. One thing that's really great about our program is that we fully outfit our students. So they show up with T-shirts and hiking shorts and, hopefully a toothbrush, but all their technical clothes, so everything from hiking boots or, boat shoes to base layers and fleece layers and rain gear is all donated by the outdoor industry. And so companies like Columbia, JanSport, Timberland are huge, huge sponsors of ours in making these trips possible. It's awesome. Timberland donates shoes that kids get to keep, and so in the hopes that they're going to go out and be able to hike after their expeditions and have appropriate footwear for that. But really, I manage all of our national logistics, and I think last season I bought a handful of compasses, but for the most part, everything else that we had came from these companies. Kelty and Sierra Designs giving us sleeping bags. Eureka gives us our tents. Osprey and Gregory both give us backpacks that we use in different parts of the different regions of the country. So it's really, really incredible.
That's great. Clearly, everybody supports you, and you're doing a great thing. And Brad, Amy, everybody, it's apparent. So I think at this point in time, it's worth just saying thank you for being on here, and I would love for people to know that the festival's almost over, but past sales, 25% benefits Big City Mountaineers. There's going to be ongoing programs throughout the year at filmfestivalflix.com where you can rent films and benefit and support Big City Mountaineers, and we're also going to be doing some live events coming up here in LA, in San Francisco, and other parts of the country where, again, come on out, have a good time, see some great films, and also support Big City Mountaineers. So definitely get involved. And again, their website is bigcitymountaineers.org. And I want to thank each of you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks, Benjamin.
Thanks, Benjamin.
All right, everybody, have fun. We'll see you in the backcountry.
Yeah.